Hi, good evening. My name is Captain Lucas Chong. I'm the CEO of my own company called Trust Maritime Services. We are basically a third-party ship managers, and like the name says, we provide third-party ship management for ship owners. Absolutely interesting, even though I don't know what I was going into. This was way back in 1978 when we first enrolled the Singapore Polytechnic to do the pre-sea nautical studies there. We did a 1-year study, no idea what sea is all about or what ships is about. And the very first ship our lecturer took us on board to visit in Singapore, that was in 1978, was a PIL ship, small general cargo ship. A lot of wooden structures, very tight cabins, all Indonesian crew. So when a bunch of our classmates went on board, we were like stunned. Is this the kind of life we're going to live next time? So that left us with a lot of apprehension. But then when we finished our studies, and the company that I joined is a Malaysian company. It's called the Malaysian International Shipping Corporation, and I was a fully sponsored student. I was pretty amazed. The first ship I joined was a very big general cargo ship with a British masters and a couple of British officers, and I was the only cadet when I joined. It was interesting sailing the ship from Port Klang onwards to Singapore, Thailand, and when we were proceeding towards Europe, crossing the Indian Ocean, the weather was absolutely horrendous. Most of the seafarers who had sailed for like 10, 20 years, they were putting on their life jackets, and I thought it was interesting. Hey, with the ship rolling 35, 40 degrees, everybody is like praying for their safety, and I was actually enjoying myself because it's so different. Yes, life at sea has never been easy. First time we went on board, it is all about minimum 12 hours work as a cadet officer. Every day is chipping and painting and watch keeping and checking the cargoes, literally doing every shitty job on board. Those days, that's how officers under the British time trained cadets like us. We were just your age, 18, 19 years old. So life was horrible, but along the way we realized that the tougher the training you undergo, the better the officer you will become. So it was honestly without any regrets. Those tough life leads to so-called better life, we all know, for your own future. Yes, I would say it has been interesting, but at the same time very tiring. And it's very important that we must have enough tolerance, a lot of endurance, perseverance to pursue in order to aim for the highest possible position. Obviously, there's a lot of difference. I've been at sea for the last 16 years. That's a long time. So can you imagine being a seafarer? 16 years away from home, from your loved ones, from all the family activities that you're missing, and 16 years you're just at sea. Of course, a lot of times you're all over the world. You visit places, those are the interesting and the plus points. But you still spend a good period of time in the open sea, where loneliness is the most difficult thing to bear with. Tough. Those were the days during sailing. But apart from that, now that we are working ashore, imagine every day after work, I'm back home. My wife, my children, and many phone calls. Plentiful indeed. What I enjoy most when I'm at sea is sometimes the absolute silence, especially when you're doing a watch keeping in the middle of the night and the sea is calm. You look up in the sky, it's nothing but millions of stars shining down. It's very romantic, but then what's the point of being romantic? romantic when there's no lady next to you at sea. I mean, a couple of interesting experiences that I have at sea. For example, when I was a captain on the Maersk container ship, at one point in time, sometime in the Persian Gulf, well past midnight, the second mate called me up. Sir, please come up. Something strange. So I ran up to the bridge. And when my ship was still navigating at full sea speed of 22 knots, I was shocked myself. The entire ocean, you don't see anything except this very colorful and bright movement of lights. It's like the north, what they call it? The northern star? No, what's the thing they call again? Somewhere happening in the north. But that's something very, very phenomenal. I've never seen such before. It was like clouds of colored lights floating all over. When you look into the radar, you don't see nothing. But it's just amazing. It was there for like more than an hour or so. Most of my officers and crew also been working up to see this strange little event. Otherwise, what I've always enjoyed visiting of slum areas when I'm abroad, particularly in India and in quite a few other countries, whereby I always have the habit of asking the agent to organize me a car to go and visit these very difficult places, because it's interesting, sad, but at the same time really to appreciate life, because they are quite difficult living overseas also. So when you see such things, then you appreciate your life, especially in Singapore, very much better. Short story. Every day is interesting. In my life as a ship manager, I've been ashore now for the last 19 years already. And in these last 19 years, I've been doing ship management all my life ashore. Every day there are new challenges and new interesting things happening. As a ship manager, anytime things happen ashore, you are responsible. First thing the captain calls, or first person they call, is either your GM or yourself. So every day is interesting. But I would say what's most interesting is that being able to share my experiences with the others. In the year 2009, I was invited by Maritime Marine Asia, and I was invited to Japan in Tokyo to give a speech on shipping finances, the 4th annual Ship Finance Forum in Japan. That was interesting. It was attended by like 400 over delegates, and each delegates are paying as much as $2,000 over US dollars to attend this seminar. And being one of the speakers, it's quite challenging indeed. I was then working for the big group, the Williamson Group. That has been quite an experience, because ever since that talk I gave, I gather more and more network, more and more of these ship owners and shipping companies calling me up, wanting me to share my knowledge, my experience and my know-how, particularly in the line of ship management. So when you get an opportunity like that, you can only know that your life has been meaningful because many people come to you for some advices and all. Youths of today are generally quite spoiled. Is that what they call the X or Y generation, whatever? But the fact is, yes, we are running short, very severely short of youngsters going to sea. I myself, when I went out to sea some 35 years ago, it was quite easy because we come from poor family. The lucrativeness of the salary at sea is very good, so every reason to go and try out the venture. But in today's lifestyle in Singapore, where It's easy to get a job ashore, and the money is good, lifestyle is fantastic. So obviously we can understand why the youngsters are quite reluctant to go out to sea, where they spend most of their life away from home. But nonetheless, I would still strongly encourage the Singaporean youngsters, venture out. Even if you have the slightest liking, try it out. But one thing for sure, when you try out the sea life by joining Singapore Polytechnic into they call it the nautical studies these days, just make sure after your first contract, that means after experiencing your first sailing on board, presumably for 6 months or 9 months contract, then you must make up your mind. Is this the life that I want to go through with? Because if it is, then make sure you aim all the way to the top, to either be a captain or to be a chief engineer. Don't give up halfway, otherwise it's just a total waste of whatever time you spend at sea and all the studies that you've done. Let me assure you, in Singapore, being a country that declares itself as an international maritime center, it also means that all sort of maritime businesses are here in Singapore. Opportunities are plentiful. Career path is sky is the limit. So, and also bear in mind that there have been a couple of generations whereby there are lack of Singaporeans going out to sea. That's why we have so many different foreigners having to come and take over this role, these positions in shipping, which should be filled by the local people. So, to the local Singaporeans, I strongly recommend try it out. You won't regret it. Take me as an example. 35 years in shipping, never regretted a day. But my last word of advice: join the sea and make sure you join all the way and be a captain, because upon achieving your command or your role as a chief engineer, at least for a couple of years experience, step ashore, then you realize how great demand you are in. And once you join a shipping company, again I repeat, the sky is the limit as far as your career path is concerned. And Singapore being a shipping hub, again, the business opportunity is also there for you to grab and be your own boss.